Welcome to Antipatterns, your playbook for your DevOps agile digital cloud transformation. No prior experience is necessary. It's the one best way, best practice program to digital nirvana. Today, I'm joined by Bryan Finster, also known as Walter White from Breaking Bad. Obviously, filming is finished now, so Bryan is now the CIO at Walmart. Welcome, Bryan.
I think you have me confused. I'm Bryan Finster. Bryan Cranston, he's unrelated. No, I'm not the CIO. I lead the DevOps Dojo for Walmart, where we actually help people.
Olivia, I thought you said we were getting someone important for the show.
Honestly, I'm as
okay, we'll just have to make do.
You really deserve.
So Bryan, you said you're you do DevOps for Walmart. So you Bryan Finster. So you do DevOps for Walmart. So I guess obviously DevOps is a role. So that's the role you're in then. And in my experience, people need to be told what to do. Leaders know best. It's important to mandate change top down, big bang, get it done quickly. People generally can't be trusted. So I'm guessing then in your role, from what you just said, then I'm guessing if this was worldwide wrestling, that you'd be the DevOps dictator.
No, I don't think so. I think you actually need to trust people. It takes a real community to really do a DevOps way of working. If you got DevOps as a role, you're most likely doing it wrong. It's much better to build up a community of engineers, a community of passionate people who just really are focused on improving everything about their community, including their lives, by developing in ways that are just better and happier.
Sorry, Bryan, you finished?
Yeah. No worries.
Sorry about that. Just had an urgent call come in. It was the CEO. So Bryan, what do you measure? How do you measure success? So, in my experience, again, people are inherently lazy and can't be trusted. So something I found to be very successful is to incentivize people on the amount of features that they produce. Feature-driven development. Some other typical measures that I have found to be very successful for increasing output is things like lines of code.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you measured that. You understand every line of code costs money.
Yeah, it's a great way to generate more code.
Sure.
Velocity, say-do ratio, that's very important. Are people actually doing what they say they're going to do? The word commitment is very important. Milestones. Milestones are a great tool for motivation. Deadlines, drop dead dates. Real success is driven by people that can meet their dates. Created some digital factories in the past, because really, producing software is no different from widgets rolling off the end of an assembly line. What do you think, Bryan? Do you do that? Do you measure features?
No, honestly, users, your customers really don't care how many features you shipped if they're crap. You really should be focusing on the outcomes, Andy. I'd like to help you with this. Is what we're delivering what the users need to improve their lives? Or are we doing it in a way where it's stable and available? Are we giving them change frequently enough that they can get their jobs done? These are really important things. Lines of code, you could measure lines of code, and if you incentivize me that way, what I'll go do is I'll just code myself a Ferrari. It'll just be terrible, but I met your metric. I'd suggest not doing that. A friend of mine, John Smart, he's got this great book you should read, Better Values, Sooner, Safer, Happier. And it's really focused on, if you measure the right things and you, remove the waste and improve your efficiency, you can do what I tell teams that they can do, which is deploy more, sleep better, have better lives.
Yeah, sounds a little bit fluffy to me. I think people generally will slack off. I think happier, absolutely, they'll be happier because they'll just basically be taking every opportunity to give it up the appearance of work. And that's why I think there are some fantastic tools at the moment in terms of individual developer productivity measures. So I find this is a great way to identify the poor performers in the team.
Yeah.
You have individual developer productivity measures. You're measuring keystrokes, you're measuring when people are active at the keyboard, especially in the pandemic. There are some organizations who are tracking when people are actually active on their laptop and what websites they're visiting, and some fantastic software to generate, as I said, individual developer productivity metrics. And then you can compare people, you can plot them, you can stack rank people, and you can fire the poor performers. I think it's a motivational tool for performance.
So fear-driven development?
Fear-driven development, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so. I think that actually, you'll find that if you focus on that, your outcomes will be, for your organization, your bottom line, your outcomes will be much worse. Because if people are in fear, then your top developers will go someplace where it's a less toxic environment, you know. And you know, Mr. Sam, he has a great quote that, you know, in business, teams win, not people. It takes a real team to get it done. And if you're focusing on individual metrics, then what you're going to get is individuals focusing on their metrics instead of what the team is trying to get done. So, you know, measure what you want. If you want good outcomes, then measure the outcomes. If you want to measure people to find out whether or not you need to fire them, you know, do that. But, you know, be prepared to go out of business.
Sounds like a bit of a fantasy to me.
Yeah.
Moving on from that nonsense, surely it's just a case of rolling out Jenkins and Jira and you're done. Tooling-led transformation, 90% of the problem, shake and bake. Highest performing team, you see what they're doing, you look at what tools they're using, and then you get everyone else to work like that. You impose one set of best practices across the organization.
Like a framework?
Like a framework.
You know, if every team in the company has that exact same problem with the same business problem with the same tech stack and the same people, then you can absolutely have them all operate exactly the same way. But the reality is that's just not the case. Everybody has their own problems. The context is incredibly important. If you don't really focus on the context, then you won't get the best outcomes. You know, allowing teams to solve the problem that they have instead of telling them how to solve their problem will be a much better outcome for you. Honestly, I suggest you try that instead.
I think there are just best practices. There's the one best way. No.
If you have found one best way, write a book because everybody will buy it. But I guarantee you haven't. And you can't solve it with a tool. No.
Good idea. Yeah, I think maybe a book on the one best way.
Yep.
So, you know, people complain about culture. I think it's really just a bunch of people whinging, to be honest. And you know, this so-called culture problem doesn't apply to leadership, is my view. You know, it's very simple, really. You get teams to agile maturity level 4 on your maturity model. And then once they've got to agile maturity model 4, then you can start thinking about DevOps. And then you can go, you know, DevOps maturity level 1, maturity level 2, maturity level 3, maturity level 4. And then they have arrived. And then they are, you know, can't get any better than that.
Obviously,
plenty of certification, certified really agile practitioners. And then you might basically just mandate it top down, aligned to the maturity model. That's what I find. What do you think, Bryan?
I think leadership is more, it's more than just having confidence and saying you people need to change. You know, if you're going to lead, you really need to exemplify the culture of change. You know, you need to create an environment where people have the ability to make things better and encourage them to make things better and give them room to make things better and really lead the change by saying, these are the goals, the measurable goals that we need to achieve. Not all you people go faster. That honestly, it just doesn't work. You've got to set people up for success and trust your people and treat them like the skilled professional software engineers that they are. And you know, we're not Legos.
Well, I can see I'm getting nothing from this conversation.
Yeah, me either.
And I think, Brian, I think you should think about not letting your boss hear this for your own employment's sake. So that wraps up another Antipatterns, your playbook for your DevOps Agile digital cloud transformation. No prior experience necessary. The one best way, best practice program to digital nirvana. Tune in next time for someone who is slightly less disappointing than Brian.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to crushing you in the market.
Hi there, John Smart here. Andy Patton has left the building. If you haven't caught on, Andy's my alter ego, an advocate for anti-patterns that act as a headwind to delivering better value sooner, safer, happier. Maybe you can identify with what Andy believes are best practices. Hopefully, you're experiencing what our guests are advocating. And to be clear, my role as Andy Patton in this series is 100% parody. All of the guests have signed up for the intentionally uncomfortable banter and insults. Learn more about these anti-patterns and patterns for better ways of working, leading to better outcomes in my book, Sooner, Safer, Happier, available in all formats. I also encourage you to attend the virtual DevOps Enterprise Summit Las Vegas, taking place October the 13th to the 15th. The DevOps Enterprise Summit events and community are near and dear to my heart. I truly believe it's one of the best places to learn from the actual experiences of our peers and to make new and lasting connections.